It is 2026, and I have lived long enough to know the difference between a face and a mask. You scroll through feeds, seeing perfected versions of everyone, and maybe even yourself. But have you ever stopped to ask, what if the person you present to the world has started to erase the person you actually are? Carl Jung called this masked self the persona, and today that mask has become a prison. We are diving into the uncomfortable truth of what happens when your digital disguise becomes your dominant reality, and how to find your way back to who you truly are. You feel it, don't you? The invisible weight of being optimized. It starts the moment you wake up. You check your notifications, and the performance begins. A witty comment here, a professional update there. Even your AI avatar looks just a little bit better than you feel. We are living in a world of curated perfection, where every interaction is a mini audition, and the pressure is relentless. You are not just living a life anymore. You are managing a personal brand, and the algorithm demands consistency. It demands a version of you that is always happy, always successful, always on. But here is the brutal truth. While your digital self is thriving, your inner self is starving. This is what I call authenticity fatigue, the exhaustion that comes from holding up a mask hour after hour, day after day. You are terrified to show a crack in the armor, terrified that if you stop performing, you will disappear. So you bury your doubts, you hide your struggles, you edit out the messy parts of being human. But Carl Jung warned us about this. He said, the persona is a complicated system of relations between individual consciousness and society, a kind of mask, designed on the one hand to make a definite impression upon others, and on the other to conceal the true nature of the individual. To conceal the true nature. That is the danger. When the mask becomes so thick that even you forget who is wearing it. And the cost? The cost is not just time. The cost is your soul. Let me tell you about Mark. He built a fortress of success online. A loving husband, a dedicated father, a visionary entrepreneur. His posts were always optimistic, always grateful, always perfect. But behind the screen, Mark was drowning. His business was bleeding money. His marriage was silent. And every time he posted a picture of his smiling family, he felt a little more hollow inside. He was feeding the persona while starving the self. And the shadow grew hungry. One night, it broke him. He was editing a video, trying to fix the lighting on his own face to look less tired, and suddenly he couldn't breathe. Panic set in, not because of the work, but because he realized he didn't recognize the man in the video. He was a stranger to himself. This is the psychological toll. When you spend all your energy polishing the mask, you have nothing left for the person wearing it. The anxiety you feel, that constant hum of dread in your chest, it is not just stress. It is the friction between who you are and who you are pretending to be. It is the shadow screaming to be heard. You see, the shadow is not evil. It is simply the unlived life. It is the anger you swallowed to be nice. It is the sadness you filtered out to be positive. It is the vulnerability you hid to be strong. And when you repress it for too long, it doesn't disappear. It leaks out. It shows up as burnout. It shows up as numbness. It shows up as a profound sense of loneliness, even when you have thousands of followers. You become a prisoner of your own creation, trapped in a curated cage, watching your real life wither away. Mark thought he was protecting his family by being perfect, but in the end, his perfection was the wall that kept them out. And that is the tragedy of the persona in 2026. We are so busy being seen that we have forgotten how to be known.
So, how do we escape? How do we take off a mask that has been glued to our face for years? Do we delete all our accounts? Do we move to a cabin in the woods? No, that is escaping, not integrating. To reclaim your soul in 2026, you do not need to leave the digital world. You need to change your relationship with it. You need to build a bridge back to your authentic self. Here are 3 strategies, 3 rituals to help you reclaim your true north. Strategy number 1. Create an authenticity anchor. Right now, your digital life is a flood, washing away your boundaries. You need an island, a safe harbor where the persona is not allowed to enter. Choose one person or one space. It could be a journal that no one else reads. It could be a weekly coffee with a friend where phones are banned. It could be a voice note you send to yourself every morning. But here's the rule. In this space, you do not perform. You do not edit. You do not filter. If you are angry, you let yourself be angry. If you are sad, you let yourself weep. This is your gym for authenticity. It is where you practice the feeling of being real so you can remember what it tastes like. When Mark started this, he simply sat in his car for 5 minutes before walking into his house. No phone, no music, just him and his breath. It was a small anchor, but it was enough to remind him that he existed separate from his notifications. Strategy number 2, the persona detox ritual. We talk about digital detox, turning off screens, but what we really need is a detox from the lies we tell ourselves. Every day we swallow tiny truths to keep the peace. We smile when we disagree. We say yes when we mean no. These unsaid words, they clog the soul. So here's the practice. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Open a blank document or take a piece of paper and write down everything you swallowed today. The opinion you didn't share in the meeting, the frustration you hid from your partner, the fear you felt when you looked at your bank account. Write it all down, raw, uncensored, ugly. You are not going to send it to anyone. You are not going to post it. You are simply acknowledging it. You are telling your shadow, I see you. You are allowed to exist. And then delete it or burn it. The act of writing it releases the pressure. The act of deleting it reminds you that you don't need validation for your feelings to be real. They are real simply because you feel them. And finally, strategy number 3, the micro-vulnerability practice. This is where we start to crack the mask intentionally. We are terrified that if we show a flaw, the world will reject us. But the opposite is true. Perfection creates distance. Vulnerability creates connection. But you don't need to confess your darkest secrets to the internet. Start small, micro-small. Share one tiny imperfection today. Admit to a friend that you are tired. Post a picture where the lighting isn't perfect. Tell a colleague you don't know the answer. Do it, and then wait. Wait for the rejection you fear, and realize it doesn't come. Instead, you will find relief. You will see shoulders relax around you. Because when you take off your mask, you give others permission to take off theirs. When Mark finally told his wife about the business struggling, he expected her to be disappointed. He expected the perfect image to shatter. Instead, she hugged him. She said, "Thank God, I thought I was the only one who was scared." The wall came down, and for the first time in years, He wasn't just seen, he was held. That is the power of being real. It is scary. It feels like jumping off a cliff, but the net will appear. And that net is human connection. Real, messy, beautiful connection. You don't need to be perfect to be loved. In fact, your perfection is the only thing standing in the way.
Do not just listen to me. Do not just nod your head and think, that was a nice story about Mark, and then scroll to the next distraction. That is the trap. That is how the persona keeps you in its cage, by tricking you into thinking that understanding is the same as changing. It is not. Knowledge without action is just another costume you wear to feel spiritual. So, here is my no BS challenge to you. Tonight, not next week, not when you feel more confident, tonight. I want you to go to your favorite social media app, the one where you feel the most pressure to be perfect. But don't look at other people's feeds. I want you to look at your own profile. Look at your own picture. Stare at it for 1 full minute until the pixels begin to blur. And then be brutally honest. What is that image trying to hide? Is it hiding the profound exhaustion in your eyes? Is it hiding the loneliness in your heart that no amount of likes can fill? Is it screaming for a validation that you simply cannot give yourself yet? Don't judge the mask. Don't hate it. Just acknowledge that it is a mask. And then I want you to make a signal to this community and a signal to your own soul. Type the words, "my mask," in the comments below, and add just one honest adjective that describes the real person standing behind that picture right now. Maybe the word is tired. Maybe the word is scared. Maybe the word is searching. Or maybe the word is enough. By doing this, you are signaling to your unconscious mind that you are done performing. You are telling the world, and more importantly, you are telling yourself that you are ready to be known. This is the 2026 Dare. In a world of curated perfection, the most radical act of rebellion you can perform is to be imperfectly real. You don't need to take the mask off for everyone. Just start by taking it off for yourself. The clock is ticking, not on your career, not on your status, but on your life. Your one messy, beautiful, authentic life. Do not let it be erased by a digital lie. Comment "my mask." Let us see the human, not the brand.
The mask is not your enemy, as long as you know you are wearing it. But if you have forgotten the face underneath, it is time to remember. Do not let the curated perfection of 2026 bury the beautiful mess of your soul. Use the anchors we discussed. Write down the truths you have swallowed. Practice your micro-vulnerability and notice the physical relief. Notice how your jaw finally unclenches, how your breath finally goes down deep into your belly when you stop trying to be everything for everyone. You are enough exactly as you are, right here, in this moment. But this is only the beginning of our journey. If today we learned how to recognize the digital cage, next time we must learn how to walk through the open gate. Once you stop performing, what does it actually mean to live an authentic life in a world that never stops recording? In our next video, Beyond the Persona, we are exploring the authentic self in the post-digital age. We are moving from the curated lie to the soul signals that guide us back home. You won't want to miss that awakening. Join us, subscribe, not for me, but for the person you are becoming. Share this with someone you know who is tired of the performance, because the most important legacy you will leave is not your social media feed, but the way you loved and lived while being truly known. I am 50 years old, and I have realized that the real world only begins when the theater ends. Go live.